Have you ever been lost in a forest in the middle of Finland in early January, in like -10 degrees, and thinking about what is the true meaning of artificial intelligence? Well, that's something on my mind right now, so let's give it a shot. Give me 10 definitions of artificial intelligence and make the answer slightly sarcastic. Okay, that's quite busy. Can you put it in a table for me? Okay, it's still too noisy, still not specific enough. Can you make an image of an artificial intelligence in the middle of a forest in Finland? Okay, well, that's not much help. So let's get back to the woodshed and talk about the thing that's really on my mind, and that's mergers and acquisitions and the implications with artificial intelligence. You know, over the years, I've been on both sides of acquisitions and investment rounds, and it's a very complicated process, a very expensive process, a lot of activities that have to be considered in terms of the due diligence. And of course, artificial intelligence is actually helping to speed up that, bring down a lot of costs, cut down on consultant fees, cut down on the costs of the bankers and the lawyers. But one of the things that's on my mind I want to riff on about a bit is the fact that when an investor or a company starts looking at making an acquisition or an investment, because of the pace of what's going on with AI or generative AI in the market, how that's impacting the different kind of functions and markets almost in real time. One of the challenges that anyone making an investment or acquisition has is actually when you go through that due diligence period at the start of it, you make a bunch of assumptions, say, about where that company will fit into your portfolio and where you can take it in the market. The problem is, because of the way that AI is disrupting the market, by the time you get to the end of that due diligence period, it could be a completely different picture. There's a lot of things to consider. So what I think we should do is get away from the woodshed and actually go to the chalkboard and have a deeper dive into some of the issues that we need to be considering. So let's say we've got an investment banker or some organization that wants to make an acquisition. We get first contact sometime early in the new year, and where the parties start talking to each other. And then they go through this whole due diligence period for about 6 months, do all the cash flow analysis, contractual stuff, and then they get a deal done by June. But in parallel with that, you've got all of this performance improvement capabilities of AI, and also you've got the reduced cost of AI as well coming down. So what that's doing is that's actually impacting not just a target or company that's been acquired or invested in, but it's also impacting the investor. It's also, of course, impacting the market in a dynamic way that both of these parties have been operating. So you've got all this kind of acceleration in terms of AI capabilities that are kind of either disrupting or being taken advantage of. And so what that means is during that actual early part of the due diligence period, the acquirer actually has to make sure that by the time they get to the deal, by the time they get the transaction done, the company that they're buying or investing in is actually still relevant in terms of their strategy, and it hasn't actually been disrupted or superseded by various technologies that have been applied, AI technologies that have been applied by other parties in the market, and completely disrupted. So that's kind of the challenge that many investors, many organizations looking to do a merger or acquisition kind of facing at the moment, and that's just going to get even tougher. So what I try to do is summarize some of these issues with 3 key questions. The first question is that anyone making an investment or a potential acquisition into an organization really needs to understand that it's kind of a moving target over the period of the due diligence. So what you have to do is that if, say, the due diligence period is 6 months, you actually have to measure and understand how artificial intelligence is actually going to be impacting your target investment over that period, and whether your investment is actually going to pay off, still going to be relevant after you do the deal. Question number 2 is, do you actually have the skills, the capabilities, the understandings to know exactly what is going on with generative AI or artificial intelligence out there in the market, So are you actually in a position to assess the impact on your targeted acquisition? And the third question is, how can you actually use AI during this due diligence period to actually help you understand what's going on, as well as executing the various tasks in the due diligence process? Well, it's getting a bit windy out here, so I'm going to duck in and get a cup of coffee. So if you like what you hear, please like and subscribe, and I'll be back with more insights from the Nordic Woodshed very shortly.